Welcome to episode 9 of Two Guys, One Sport. My name is Chris.
Chris, can you believe it's been 9 episodes of the banter?
It really has been, and it's been amazing.
It's been really great. You're doing the heavy lifting, but it's been really great.
You're doing the bantering, so it works. Yeah, that's George. I'm Chris, and we've moved to a new time slot. Welcome to Friday night, Two Guys, One Sport, which is going to be a thing now.
I expect you to have us and CMLL on at the same time, ladies and gentlemen.
This is when you really need the two monitors set up, so you could have us in one screen and then CMLL on the other screen.
If you're bold, you have the 3 monitors. You have us on one screen, CMLL on the other, and CagesideSeats.com on the third.
Yeah, because
we're going to start doing a little Q&A gimmick down the line once we get this time slot a little more situated. So jump on Cage Side. You'll see a post for this podcast. Ask us a question. We'll answer in real time. Yeah. Comments, feedback, all that stuff.
Yeah, we love to hear from you. You are the people that make us continue to do this. So
yeah, exactly. We are here for you.
Yes, we are at your service.
And us too.
A little bit for us, but mostly for you.
Yeah, it's like 75-25.
All right. So this week's episode is called Forward Progress because we've had a lot of forward progress in the wrestling world lately, especially in regards to the yellow brand NXT. That's going to be the central point of our discussion tonight. I've also got a couple of recent live events to recap for WWE and New Japan, and some previews of New Japan stuff that's really exciting on the horizon. But as always, start off with our matches of the week. And you want to go first, George?
I will.
Okay.
This is my favorite match of 2017, Brother Chris, that I'm about to talk about.
Oh, I know what this is.
This is coming. This is the semi-main event of Wrestle Kingdom 11. Tetsuya Naito defeating Hiroshi Tanahashi to retain his IWGP Intercontinental Championship. First of all, fists up for Los Ingobernables. Let's get that right off the bat. Yeah. Second of all, we talk about this.
We talk about this with the love fest for Lij, and now we're going
to talk about Naito.
Yeah,
and we're going to talk about Go Ace. Now, I am a story guy. I love when wrestling tells stories. As much fun as spot fests are, I'm looking at my autograph poster of the Young Bucks right now, so I do enjoy a good spot fest every now and again. Give me a story. And the story with this match is that Hiroshi Tanahashi is 40, and he still thinks he's the ace of New Japan. He has this new snazzy music. He has Go Ace. And the story here, he's good enough to be competent and beat most guys, the Sonatas and Evils of the world. But he's not good enough to beat the main guys because he's just past his prime, but he doesn't know it yet. We all know a guy like this, Chris. He's got a new Corvette in the yard, in the driveway. He's got a girlfriend who's about 5 years too young for him, and he still thinks he's the man, and everyone else looks at him and says, you got yourself a bit of a midlife crisis, dude.
And his name is John Cena!
Yeah, well, we almost got there with Cena, but then he killed AJ. Thankfully, AJ came back from the dead 3 days later, like as our Lord and Savior. But still.
I'm sorry for anybody's speakers that I just blew up with that, but I had to throw it in there.
Because my favorite part of this match is the beginning and Tanahashi, right before the match even, and Tanahashi psyching himself up, and he's trying to get himself motivated because he's trying to convince himself, you know what, this is still 2012, and you're still the ace in New Japan. And Naito just looks at this guy and says, old guy, what are you doing? It's like the old guy at the nightclub. Like, what are you doing here? This is a young man's game. The match itself is great. They go 50-50. They each go after the leg. But Naito is just a step too quick, a step too good. And at the end, he pins him after 2 Destinos, and he just kind of taps him on the chest a little bit like, you know what? You did good, old guy. You did good. Not good enough. Kind of patronizing. But you did good. I'm proud of you. You have nothing to be ashamed of, old man. It's exactly the story. And you know what? In the 4 months or 5 months since this match, Tanahashi's been going through the midlife crisis. I mean, he's finally back in the main event scene in May or June, because we'll talk about Dominion. He's returning back, but he spent 6 months wandering the wilderness a little bit, Brother Chris. He was hanging out with the other old dudes in the trios match, bouncing around with the never open weight 6-man title. giving it back and forth. He hasn't been the main eventer. This is clearly a different role for the guy who put New Japan back on the map. Now, Tanahashi is rapidly climbing my all-time best wrestlers list. Maybe we'll do that one episode. Maybe because I have a top 10, and then it also about an honorable mention in my head, and it changes. And Tanahashi's in the honorable mention. He's not yet in the top 10.
But he'll get there.
He's climbing. He's very slowly but surely climbing the ranks of all-time great wrestlers. And as long as he shows the commitment to this new phase, take notes, John Cena. As long as he shows the commitment to the midlife crisis, go Ace. I can still beat anybody. I can still beat almost anybody, but I can't beat anybody anymore. We may get something. Do we get a Tanahashi heel turn? I don't know. Do we get the old guy who everyone loves? Shades of Chris Jericho? I don't know. But there's a lot of possibilities here. In fact, I'm more interested with this Tanahashi than I am with the Tanahashi of the past 5 years who was just running roughshod over the heavyweight division.
Well, this is like the nice thing about this midlife crisis Tanahashi is that this is basically a year in development because he had Wrestle Kingdom 10, the match against Okada.
Oh yeah, and you beaten me but never beaten me in the Dome.
Yeah, and he lost he lost the title match in the Dome. More than anything, and that was a momentous occasion, and I think that really started this. I don't want to call it descent because he's still in a very good spot within the company, but this is what started to put him on this path to this new position.
If you want to, speaking of the domes, it's a multi-dome story because everyone forgets this because the Semi-Man was so good. He beat Okada in the main event at Wrestle Kingdom 9.
Yeah.
In the Dome. I remember Okada is heartbroken and he's like sobbing leaving the ring because I just can't get over the hump of beating this guy. Yeah. And then Okada has the belt. I believe. I know. Tanahashi won the G1 in 2015 because he beat Nakamura in an excellent main event. And and Tanahashi has the whole, yes, you've beaten me outside the Dome, but in the Dome it's a special place.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden,
home turf. You can't beat me on the Dome.
The guy who put the Dome back on the map, the guy who put New Japan back on the map, has lost 2 straight in the Dome, clean as a sheet.
Yeah.
Without a modicum of interference from Chaos or a modicum of interference from LIJ. LIJ was nowhere to be found in this match. Because Naito didn't need them. Because he was able to beat them. He beat the old guy on his own. Like why use the help when you don't have to? Yeah. And he beats him, pins him clean as a sheet with the Destino, and he just taps him on the chest and he says, "Good heart, good show, but not good enough." That's a cool story. And wrestling's about stories. Yeah. It's not about flippy-do shit. As much fun as I love flippy-do shit, it's not about flippy-do shit. It's not about beating the crap out of a guy hard ways. It's about telling a story. This told a story. That's my match of the week. Yeah. What you got for me, brother Chris?
Well, funny that you keep talking about flippy shit like that because, after last week's Wrestling Toyo Nakuni, and the amazing
match. You pronounced that way better than I would have, by the way. Nice job.
It's all that Japanese TV that I watch. It aids in the pronunciation. But after that amazing junior heavyweight title match between Ricochet and Hiromu Takahashi, which if you haven't watched it yet, you definitely should because it's probably one of the best light heavyweight, junior heavyweight, cruiserweight, whatever you want to call it, for that matches for that weight class that I've ever seen. Incredible match. But I got on a little bit of a kick of watching some cruiserweight, light heavyweight matches. And this next match, my match of the week this week is a meeting between 2 guys who are basically at the top of this weight class right now, and that is Hiromu Takahashi, formerly known as Kamitachi, versus Dragon Lee. Their final match in CMLL for the World Lightweight Championship during Takahashi's tour in CMLL as Kamitachi. This took place in March of last year, of 2016. And for those who are not familiar with the CMLL format, every match, or most matches, unless it's otherwise specified, follows a best-of-3 falls format.
It's very
And,
traditional. CMLL is a very traditional lucha libre promotion.
Yeah, and this match is a very interesting hybrid match that combines a lot of lucha libre elements with some really intense strong style as well, because these two have had a rivalry basically the entire time that Kamitachi was in CMLL. They had so many matches back and forth. I think this may have been, I think, their 7th or 8th meeting against
I think they've had 10 total.
Yeah, well, the match that they're gonna have this year in the Best of Super Juniors is gonna be the 10th meeting, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, and because the New Beginning match was meeting number 9. So yeah, this would be their 8th match against each other, and they were just stiffing the shit out of each other, but also throwing in a lot of awesome flippy shit. Dragon Lee won the first fall with a running Spanish fly, and then Kamitachi won the second fall with diving double knees off the top turnbuckle. And from that was within the first 10 minutes of the match. The match goes for another 15 minutes after that, trying to get the third fall, and it's just back and forth, dives and flips to the outside, kicking each other straight in the face. There's one point where after the second fall, actually, Kamitachi leaves the ring, walks up the ramp, and then as Dragon Lee is finally getting back to his feet, runs back down the ramp. And if you've never seen how the CMLL arena is set up, the ramp that leads to the ring is actually at the same height as the ring. It's not like in WWE where you have to walk up stairs to get to the ring. It actually just goes straight to the ring height. So Kamitachi runs down the ramp and does a running drop kick over the top rope to get back into the ring and hit Dragon Lee with this running drop kick. And it's such an amazing display of storytelling within a flippy shit match, because we all know that there have been plenty of flippy shit matches that don't have any story to them. Hell, the first meeting between Ricochet and Will Ospreay from last year's Best of Super Juniors was widely criticized by a lot of the Wrestling Old Guys Club as being a match with no storytelling. But this match absolutely had a story, and it was just these two guys that clearly can't stand each other, but they're both at the top of their game, and it's who can pull out the craziest shit to finally put the other guy down. And Dragon Lee eventually does win and takes the World Lightweight Championship. And this is actually Kamitachi's final match in CMLL. From there, he went on to do a brief tour in the U.S., did stops in Ring of Honor. He showed up at Battle of Los Angeles for PWG, a couple of other stops with independent promotions before coming back to New Japan as the Ticking Time Bomb, Hiromu Takahashi. And as those of you who watch New Japan know, he's essentially the top of the heap right now for junior heavyweights. He's got the title. He's beaten the best of the best in the division, and he's one of the best in the world. And the same can be said for Dragon Lee, still in CMLL. He's he doesn't have, actually, I think he does have the title right now. Pretty sure he does have the World Lightweight Championship right now.
I'm pulling it up while you talk.
Yeah, yes, he does. He won it. He actually has not lost it since that match on March 4th, 2016. He's held it for 428 days.
You ready to feel old, brother Chris?
What?
Dragon Lee was born in 1995.
Oh yeah, yeah. And that's the thing that's the best part about this is that these two guys. I mean, Takahashi was born in '89. He's 27, but these two guys are still pretty young. Have plenty of years in front of them, and they're going to be lighting up the light heavyweight, junior heavyweight scene for as long as they are in their prime like this.
As long as they can walk, in Takahashi's case.
Yeah. I mean, he's got the incredibly violent style to his matches, but I mean, you can't deny the power. You cannot deny the power.
And you most certainly cannot deny the charisma.
No, absolutely not.
For either one of these guys.
Yeah. And it's especially interesting for Dragon Lee, being that he's a mass luchador, and mass luchadors historically don't always have the best reputation of showing charisma, but he's one of the best, most charismatic performers that CMLL has right now. So that's my match of the week, and you can find it. You can find it on YouTube, and there are probably some other places you can find it as well. I definitely recommend going and watching it, though.
Well, you want to just go straight into the Super Juniors while we're talking about Dragon Lee? Takahashi?
Sure.
I figured why not, right?
Yeah, we'll just jump right into it.
Back to the Super Juniors. I'm going to set the scene real quick. It is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 16-man tournament. The field is divided into 2 groups or blocks. Everyone in each block will wrestle everybody else. You get points for a win, you get points for a draw, and you get no points for a loss. Whoever has the most points at the end of the matches in their block wrestles the man who wins the other block. The winner is crowned the best of the Super Juniors. If the winner is not the reigning and defending IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion, he will get a match against the reigning and defending IWGP Heavyweight Champion at the Dominion pay-per-view in Osaka, which I believe is what, mid-June, early June, right?
Yeah, June 11th.
June 11th. June 11th. The reigning and defending, I like to say that, by the way, me and Bruce Buffer, the reigning and defending champion is your friend and mine, Mr. Hiromu Takahashi, after squashing Kushida not that long ago for the belt in like 2.5 minutes or something, which we both approved of, because every now and again a squash match is good because it resets your crowd's expectations, as we discussed a couple weeks ago.
The squash happened at Sakura Genesis last month.
Which was when Shibata ended his own career.
Yes.
Don't do that, people.
Yeah, please. No more shoot headbutts. But
don't do that.
But the thing that everybody was expecting a repeat of their match from the Dome, and it turned out to be the exact opposite of that, with Kushida just jumping right out the gate to try and end it as quickly as possible, diving out of the ring and then drop kick with the chair, and then Hiromu's just like, nah, bro, and what was that? Oh man, I can't even remember the name of the move now. Sunset flip powerbomb out of the ring, like from the ring to the floor. Sunset flip powerbomb, and then time bomb, Blu-ray time bomb, and it's over.
Yeah, in like 2.5 minutes.
Everybody afterwards immediately predicted that's the end of Kushida as the guy on top of the junior heavyweight, but no, he's right back to it and right back in as the presumed favorite to win Block B of the Best of Super Juniors this year. So
let's see the blocks, but again, I am a fan of fast finishes because they tell your crowd and they give your crowd something to look forward to. If every match is a 25-minute match, the crowd won't care for the first 20 minutes. But if every now and again you throw a squash out there, Brock Lesnar, Bill Goldberg, the people will all of a sudden start caring about near falls. Incidentally, this is why I like title changes on house shows.
Yeah.
Because every now, if once a year, twice a year, you pop a mid-card title change on a house show, all of a sudden people start buying near falls at house shows.
Yeah.
And not just New Japan, house shows in general. WWE, New Japan, obviously the big ones, but I mean even smaller promotions who run house shows.
Exactly.
I'm a fan of that because I go to a house show and I know the champion is defending the championship, but I know he's not going to lose the championship. Well, what if he does? Because he just lost it a month ago at a house show.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I start to care about these things.
I mean,
let's go over the block. That's my speech about those things.
Yeah, the key to it is not over promoting it like WWE did for the NXT house show where Balor lost the title to Samoa Joe, because that was like, well, that's just blatantly freaking obvious that that's going to be the thing that happens. But there's a fine art to those things.
There's a fine art, and it really is the little things. It's the facial expressions, it's the body language, it's stuff like that. The little things separate the good from the great.
Yeah. So
all right, let's go over these blocks.
All right, so Block A, we've got Dragon
Lee. Eight wrestlers in a block. Everyone wrestles everyone else.
Yep. So we got Dragon Lee from CMLL, Hiromu Takahashi, your reigning and defending junior heavyweight championship in New Japan, Jushin Thunder Liger, the greatest junior heavyweight of all time, Marty Scurll from Ring of Honor making his debut in New Japan, Ricochet, Taichi, Taka Michinoku, and Will Ospreay. Now, the thing that
First of all, holy shit, is this block awesome?
Yeah, that's the thing that immediately jumps out at me is like with the notable exception of Taichi, because Taichi just sucks at everything. I mean, 7 out of 8 of these performers are absolutely mind-blowingly good.
The second worst guy is who? Marty Scurll?
I would say either Skrull or Liger, and Liger only because of his age.
Yeah.
But I mean that's still a pretty good bar for performance.
Exactly. That's a pretty good second worst.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Taichi's just there to eat the falls, maybe pick up a random win or two, but
yeah, I mean,
there's so many great potential matchups in this block. I cannot wait.
Yeah, the only win that Taichi might get is if he has to wrestle against Taka Michinoku. They might have some like, oh no, it's inter Suzuki Gun drama. Who knows? But you know, whatever. I'm personally losing my mind over Ricochet Ospreay Part 2 because God. I went back and watched that match again this week, and the reason why I brought that up while talking about the Flippy shit matches is because, you know, for all the people like Vader who criticized the match saying that it was, you know, all gymnastics, no storytelling, they were not looking at the subtleties of this and realizing the differences of these two performances. I mean, Will Ospreay is 23, I think, right now, so he would have been 22 at the time that this was going on. You know, still just fresh on the scene as like the big deal Will Ospreay. This was starting to be his moment of like coming out of his shell of just being known within the British scene. Meanwhile, Ricochet, already well established, well known within the independent scene as one of the best guys, one of the best aerial guys out there in the world.
Oh, by far.
And so this was the match of young upstart Will Ospreay out to prove himself against Ricochet, who was like, "Nah, you're too young for this, kid. Let me teach you a thing or two." And it was a really, really good story with a lot of subtlety and a lot of really in your face conflict between the two of them. My favorite being the springboard or off into the ring with Cheerio motherfucker from Will Ospreay.
That was fun.
The attitude displayed by Ospreay of being like, "You're underestimating me. I'm going to make you regret it." And Ricochet having the moments of, "You're being a cocky bastard. Let me make you pay for it." There was so much of that back and forth throughout that match. And 20 minutes of a match with that level of intensity, it can't be easy for anybody. So props to both of them for putting that together. And I'm looking forward to the rematch a lot.
Agreed. You know what's funny about this tournament? Well, let's do B block. But I like how this block is so loaded that the defending Best of the Super Juniors champion, Will Ospreay, is like the 4th favorite to win it.
Yeah. And meanwhile, on the other side, we've got ACH, who was technically making his New Japan Pro Wrestling debut, but he has wrestled in New Japan before when he went against Tiger Mask W as the Red Death Mask.
No, Tiger the Dark. Tiger the Dark.
Oh, he was Tiger the Dark? Yeah. He was Tiger
the Dark at the Dome.
Juice was Red Death Mask.
I believe that's correct.
Yeah, so ACH was actually at the Dome this year wrestling as Tiger the Dark. But this is his unmasked debut for New Japan. And we've got Bushi from LIJ, El Desperado from Suzuki Gun, Kushida, who we talked about, Ryusuke Taguchi, Tiger Mask the 4th, Volador Jr. from CMLL, and Yoshinobu Kanemaru from Suzuki Gun. Not quite.
You know what's funny about,
but
real quick, you know what's funny about this?
What?
Normally, for Best of the Super Juniors, you see every now and again you see a Matt and Nick Jackson having to be added to these matches. You see a Beretta or Rocky Romero.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, last year Gato himself was in these matches. I'm looking at the prior things. Every Alex Shelley tag team guys who are Super Junior tag team guys, but not Super Junior main singles guys. You see them kind of added to stuff the numbers.
Matt Sadal last year, he was actually in a trios team that was holding the Never Openweight belts at one point, and that was all he was doing.
You don't have any tag team guys who are who are put in this tournament to just make the numbers.
Aside from Taichi and Yoshinobu, but I mean, they can perform as singles guys as well. So,
but no Young Bucks, no Roppongi Vice, no Gato and Jetto, none of that.
Yeah.
Which is a change of pace and a refreshing change of pace. Absolutely. This is a great time to be a junior in New Japan and all over the world. Obviously, we talked about Honor had some guys, CMLL, ACH is an independent.
Mm-hmm.
But you know who's not here, which intrigues the shit out of me for another tournament later this summer?
Yeah.
I don't see your friend and mine, Mr. Zack Sabre Jr.
Well,
do you?
He, I think, when he came to New Japan, declared himself to be in the heavyweight division. That was
True.
He
did, but this would have been the chance to kind of retcon that, and they didn't take it, which I appreciate.
Yeah,
I don't see, which excites me for the G1, although God knows with his schedule, I don't see your friend and mine, Mr. Kota Ibushi, in this tournament. Maybe he makes an appearance in the G1.
Or Tiger Mask W, who really is Kota Ibushi, as we all know. But
I love how we have the premier light heavyweight tournament in the world, and 2 of the 10 best light heavyweights in the world are not in it, and it is still an awesome tournament.
Yeah, and the fact that they're able to field this field of competitors, even as WWE has just been scooping up cruiserweights left and right as much as they can, and then not using them for their cruiserweight division.
Exactly.
Or not using them properly for their cruiserweight division. The fact that we're still able to field a group that's as impressive and talented as this is quite the feat.
I mean, the only way this gets better, other than adding Sabre Jr. and Ibushi, is if we get Neville on loan or something.
Well, I mean, there are a couple of other guys from CMLL that we could have that they could have very easily brought.
The artist formerly known as Mystico.
Yeah.
His brother.
Yeah. La Mascata very easily could have wound up in this. Fuego is another guy that has been tossed around. There are plenty of CMLL performers that could have made the trip that could have easily
Mystico 1.0 and Mystico 2.0 could have both easily fit in here and not miss a step.
Yep. Karastico is another one. Yeah, there are plenty of CMLL performers, and I think that with the slow transition that New Japan is making away from their Ring of Honor partnership and instead moving towards their partnerships with Rev Pro in the UK and with CMLL, we're going to start seeing more of their talent and less of the Ring of Honor guys. So unless Marty Scurll's contract with Ring of Honor ends within the next year, I don't think we see him again next year, but we'll see. Who knows? But either way, I think this is going to be an incredible tournament with the talent that's here. I made this statement last week, I think, either last week or the week before, that the Best of Super Juniors match quality is probably going to rival the G1 this year.
That would not surprise me at all on a match-per-match basis, especially in Block A.
Yeah,
I think Block A's matches can... Obviously, we're speculating. We haven't seen the blocks for the G1 yet. I mean, we have a pretty good idea who's going to be in the G1 just based on basically the top 4 guys in every stable. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Naito, Okada, Go Ace. You know, I mean, those guys are going to be in there. Omega. But again, unless they do what they did here and stack one block to the detriment of another, I'm willing to put this Block A's match quality on a match-per-match basis against anything in the G1.
Well, I also think that there's going to be some surprises in Block B, because there are some guys here in Block B who are deceptively talented and are just waiting for a chance to kind of show their full skills, and this is a time for them to do it. Guys like Desperado, who has been a quietly very impressive performer. Guys like Bushi.
I am a Bushi fan.
Yeah.
When Bushi beat Kushida for the belt in October, King of Pro Wrestling that was a great match. Bushi's had some very good matches, and he's definitely coming into his own. He gets his gimmick, he gets his character. So I'm excited for him. I hope this is a good year for him.
Yeah, Volador is another one who I think has
the ace of CMLL. He is something else.
He's gonna be performing against some guys who are very different in style from what he's used to, but I think they're gonna put together some great matches. And ACH as well. ACH.
I love ACH. He does the AEW tour all the time.
Yeah,
he's one of the best. He is very, very good.
I just saw him in Evolve.
Yeah, he's very good.
Yeah, he's got some great character bits too that I think can work well in this match, in these matches, especially against guys like Bushi and Desperado, who are normally heels, and I think ACH is able to possibly out heal them, or at least
he can. He absolutely can be.
befuddle
this is
them.
a great time for junior wrestling in general.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we list the names of the guys who aren't in this tournament who could easily slot in. That doesn't count any of the awesome American indie juniors like AR Fox, Freddie Ahai. I mean, those guys who could easily slot into a tournament. This is a great time for junior wrestling.
Yeah,
in New Japan and throughout the world.
It's probably only going to get better.
I can't see why it wouldn't.
Next week, what we have on the schedule is a discussion of the indie scene and how it's been adapting to the change in wrestling television in the mainstream. And I think part of that discussion is going to be some of the increases that we've seen in cruiserweight and light heavyweight wrestling, and how the independent scene is using them to much greater effect than WWE is right now.
I think that's a good idea to talk about next week.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind. Keep that in the back of the head. That's good.
Yeah. So let's move on from here.
Oh, picks. Give us picks, brother Chris. Who's winning each block? Who's winning the tournament?
Yeah. I'm going with Hiromu Takahashi and Kushida to win this, and we are headed to Takahashi Kushida 3 in the final. Now, the real question of whether Takahashi continues to hold Kushida down and win is up for debate. I'm personally rooting for Takahashi to get the win and to just go all the way on this, because he's been A++ performer, the unheralded star right now of New Japan in my eyes.
He's been on a sensational roll. I sincerely hope that they strap the rocket to his back and have him win this tournament in convincing fashion.
Yeah,
maybe dropping a fall, maybe two, maybe on the way to a dominant win on the tournament.
Yeah,
I can see them doing something dumb, relatively dumb, and giving Ricochet the win, so they have somebody in Long Beach.
Yeah, for
the G1 tours, for the G1 house show thing that they're doing in Long Beach in July.
Yeah,
or August. It's gonna be August. I sincerely hope that they just give the push to Takahashi, because he is a superstar in the making.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with the obvious pick, like you went with Takahashi over Kushida.
Mm-hmm. The only people that Takahashi should lose to in Block A are either Dragon Lee or Ricochet. And even then, he should still come out of that block with the most points.
And he should lose to one of the two, not both.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't see with the most points and have it be relatively convincing.
I don't see them having him lose to Dragon Lee, but I think that Dragon Lee is going to have a great performance, because I think that they like him and want to have him around on a more regular basis. So, but yeah, we're both on the same mind here.
I think
Takahashi over
Kushida. Yeah.
I
can see that. I can possibly make a case for El Desperado out of the B block if they really think he's something special, but I just think it's a little too early for him.
Yeah, I would say give him another 6 months. Let him start to shine among that Suzuki Gun stable, because right now Suzuki Gun is just entirely about Minoru Suzuki and nobody else really.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the best of Super Juniors. Now, moving on to the main topic of today's podcast, the revival and resurgence of NXT. And
sure.
Past
all of a sudden,
here.
Takeover got pretty damn great.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen the introduction or the reintroduction, I should say, of Drew McIntyre. The introduction
who had the best 8-minute match you'll ever see with Oni Lorcan.
Oh God, yeah.
About 3 weeks ago. Oh my God, this match was so good. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just had to get that out there. That match rocked.
It was
an extended squash, and it kicked ass.
Yeah, I would not be surprised to see some people voting for that as one of their favorite matches of the year.
Oh, I loved it. It was a great match.
It was incredible, absolutely incredible. The introduction of new characters like Ruby Riott, who has been a revelation for that women's division, a much needed revelation for that women's division.
She's giving it a shot in the arm.
Yeah, and my favorite slabs of meat that have ever come out of NXT, Heavy Machinery, in the tag team division, who this week had probably one of the most convincing debut promos that I've ever seen of any performer, tag team or singles. That promo in the ring, I mean, a very old school 80s wrestling style promo, a little bit hammy at parts, but it was perfect for them. They're a team that works with that little bit of hamminess. It's fantastic.
It does. That wink to the crowd, I love it. You know what I love about NXT? You know what I love about Heavy Machinery, specifically NXT in general, is when a performer or team finds their groove and you can see the light switch start to turn on. I think we're there with Heavy Machinery.
Yeah.
We were there with the Office of Pain late last year.
Yeah.
When they had that match in San Antonio against DIY, and they had that match against DIY and the Revival at Orlando. You get the light starts to turn on. I like when a team or wrestler has found a gimmick and is starting to refine it live and in living color in real time. See what works, see what doesn't. I think we're there with Heavy Machinery. And these guys, considering they've been wrestling for, 2 years? That's it, right?
They showed up last year's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. They lost in the first round to Austin Aries and the debuting Roderick Strong, but they had a good showing, and they definitely got the crowd on their side. And then they had their kind of official rollouts earlier this year as part of the shows that happened at the UCF Arena leading into TakeOver Orlando. And this match that happened this past week at Full Sail was really, I think, their first kind of showcase match in front of that Full Sail crowd, and you could tell they were all in for Heavy Machinery. They loved every bit of that.
Who doesn't love beef?
Yeah. Built this beef. I've been saying that since Wednesday. Built this beef. Give these guys the titles at some point, because they will do great things with them. I mean, not right away, obviously. You know, I think that's maybe not at Brooklyn, but the takeover after Brooklyn, I could easily see title change to Heavy Machinery.
They won in Houston before Survivor Series?
Yeah.
I think it's in Houston. Before Survivor Series. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That would make sense.
And let's talk about NXT for a little bit, Chris.
Yeah.
And I'll chime in, because NXT I know is your baby. I'll let you carry do the heavy lifting on this one, and I'll just jump in with my thoughts.
The thing that I like about it, the improvement that I've seen, is the fact that we're back to really good long form storytelling. And in this case, the long form storytelling is not the redemption stories that we had with Sami Zayn and Bayley when they were the standard bearers of NXT. In this case now, I mean, right now in NXT, every champion is a heel. You've got Bobby Roode, you've got Asuka, and you've got the Authors of Pain. Everybody's a heel. And there is a lot of hubris among that group of champions. Bobby Roode trying to get young guys like Kona Reeves out there to hurt Hideo Itami before TakeOver, leading into that title match that's going to happen in a couple of weeks. Like this week, you saw him talking to Kona Reeves before the match, and last week too, the interview that he gave, talking about the disrespect of Hideo Itami. You see a lot of hubris in him. Asuka even more so, going all the way back to
Asuka's even starting to get a little deranged hubris.
Yeah, going all the way back to TakeOver San Antonio, when she pushed the ref into the ropes to just halt the Eclipse by Ember Moon. I do have to take a brief moment though to say some breaking news that apparently came out earlier today is that was it an injury or was it not bit with Ember Moon? Apparently it actually was an injury, and now reports are saying that the title match that was set for TakeOver Chicago, that was supposed to be a fatal four-way with Ember Moon, Ruby Riott, Nikki Cross, and Asuka, is now being reduced to just a triple threat, and Ember Moon is out. That's the word that's coming down the pipeline, which it is too bad. Because she was starting to hit her groove, and they were starting to actually tell a coherent story with her. And now that this injury happened, it's unfortunate. But I don't know how they change the scene here. But it's very interesting to me the changes that they've exhibited in Asuka, because when she won the title last year, it was she was still kind of in that ass kicker face role. She was still, very beloved by the crowd, and she was still, not really cheating or whatever to take the advantage. She was just going out there and kicking ass. But now that she's got challengers who are on her level, now she is she's bending the rules a bit. And I find it interesting that if you watch the Fallout videos from this week's episode of NXT, where in backstage William Regal's berating Asuka for her actions of interfering in the Battle Royal, he's in her face and she is just blasting back at him in Japanese, clearly saying something to the effect of, I did nothing wrong. I did, what I did was okay. It was legal. It was a battle royal. You can't punish me for this or whatever. Clearly taking that attitude of, I'm above this. I'm better than this, and you're not treating me as as such. And then he tells her, "You're defending against all three of them," and the camera pans back over her face, and you can see Asuka's shook. Asuka's worried.
Yep.
And that's the first time we've ever seen that from Asuka. And
Regal is so perfect in this role, by the way. We don't say it enough. He's superb in this role.
Mm-hmm. And the match is even as a triple threat, though, the match is still going to be insanely good. Like we talked about Ruby Riott, she's been a revelation in that women's division.
She's been so good. She's been good for years, but she's been very good in this division.
Yeah, the former Heidi Lovelace remains one of the best female performers in the world, and this is going to be a great opportunity for her to showcase that. She didn't really get much of a spotlight, surprisingly, in that 8-person tag match that they had in Takeover Orlando with Team Ty versus Sanity. So they did.
Well, the format's hard. That's a tough format though. When you have one woman on each side, I understand what was going on there.
Yeah. So this is going to be a moment for her to really break out, and obviously Nikki Cross, psychopath bulldog of Sanity.
Yep. Super hot, by the way. Super hot.
You've really got a thing for her.
Super hot. I love crazy brunettes, brother Chris. Short, crazy brunettes. That's right in the old wheelhouse. Not gonna lie.
She's the white chocolate cheesecake of your dating life.
She is, yes, which is funny because I'm not dating a short, crazy brunette. Well, she's short, but she's not brunette. Or
crazy, hopefully.
I don't think she's crazy yet. We've only been out a couple times.
Yeah, there you go.
She's crazy. She's hiding it well. But but short, crazy brunettes are my thing.
Yeah.
So, Nikki Cross. But setting aside that, Nikki Cross kicks ass. Regardless of my dating preferences, she's awesome. She's so great.
Yeah.
She's the second best part of Sanity behind the beef monster that is Killian Dane.
Absolutely. I think that this is a good time for Nikki to also get a chance to showcase, because the only real matches that she's had have been either multi-person matches like the match in Orlando, or squashes. Like she had the one squash against the former Macy Estrella. And,
she hit her with the neck breaker about 14 times.
Yeah, which was hard to watch at certain points, but it is what it is. I think that putting her in a ring against performers that are on her level, of her caliber, and giving her a chance to shine there. And I mean, even in the Fatal 4-Way that happened in San Antonio, she didn't really have much of a.
No, she had the table spot.
Yeah,
she was picking up by the table, and that was it. That was her big contribution, was taking that bump.
Yeah. Now the real question though is going to be how are they going to agent this triple threat? Because I mean, Nikki Cross versus Ruby Riott has been the story between those two up to this point. I mean, they had that pull apart two separate pull apart brawls on one episode of NXT a couple of weeks ago. So how do you integrate Asuka?
You want my prediction?
Yeah,
a good triple threat is a heel, a face, and a tweener, right?
Yeah,
in general. You have a heel in Asuka. You have a face in Ruby Riott. Maybe Nikki's the tweener, which means maybe Sanity becomes the tweeners. We're pretty heavy on the heel side right now.
Yeah,
there's a lot of Sanity. In NXT, and I could see Sanity doing a we hate everybody gimmick kind of.
Yeah, almost like the Wyatts were when they first arrived.
Exactly.
Just anti everything, and I mean that's kind of what they were trying to go for. With the rollout of Sanity, but this whole feud with Dillinger, have to play it as heel because Ty has just been so over with the crowd that there's no other way to play it. You have to go full villain.
Is that next week, by the way, the Ty Dillinger cage match?
No, that already happened.
That happened. I thought I saw that. I was like, wait a second.
Yeah, that was a couple of weeks ago. That was Ty's official farewell to NXT, and that was the last time also that we saw Cassius Ohno. We haven't seen him since.
He's busy losing weight, and by all accounts, in all honesty.
Which is and it's good though. I mean, when he does make his return to TV time, that'll be.
He's
fantastic.
already looked thinner at Orlando than he did the 3 weeks prior when he wrestled Bobby Roode.
Yeah,
he already starting to lose some of that bulk, and he's great. He's great at whatever. At 300 pounds, he's great at 250 pounds. He's great at whatever. He'd be great at whatever.
Yeah.
For his own, if he wants to lose the weight, more power to him.
Mm-hmm.
They want him to lose the weight, which is part of the reason why he's been living in the gym in Orlando. So if we can come back for his own health, his own knees, his own hips, and be carrying less weight around at his age, he's what, 37?
He's older than that.
His own long-term health to be carrying a little less bulk around on those joints, which have a lot of miles and a lot of economy seats and airplanes.
Yeah, he is 37. Yeah, for some reason I thought he was 39. I don't know why, but yeah. He needs.
So if he loses for his own sake, if he loses 20 pounds, it'll be nothing but good times for him.
Yeah, and also for his presentation too, because I mean, when he first came back, the thing that everybody was saying immediately about him, it wasn't that it was good to see him back in an NXT ring. It was that, oh my God, he looks terrible in the jersey that they gave him.
Yeah, he doesn't. In the Indies, he just wrestled in the trunks. In the Indies, he just wrestled in the trunks.
Yeah,
and it was okay. He never wrestled in the jersey. He just took it off before the match, and I thought he got a little bulky at the end of his indie run. So I'm glad that he's slimming down. I think he doesn't need to be Finn Balor, obviously.
Yeah,
he never will be.
You don't need all abs all the time.
No. I mean, poor Finn. I want to feed him a cheeseburger sometimes.
That was probably one of my favorite segments from this week on Raw when him and Dean encountered each other backstage, and Dean goes, "Eat a donut for Christ's sake!" And
exactly.
Gives him a donut, and Finn, of course,
Finn hasn't had a carbohydrate in 5 years.
Yeah, and of course, Finn says donut is too sweet because we have to throw that in every 5 seconds with him.
Exactly, because WWE does nothing if not subtlety.
Yeah.
That is not subtle. Excuse me.
The subtlety
so
of
I'm excited for Slim Cassius Ohno.
Yeah.
Once he debuts his new Rockin' Bod.
Mm-hmm. And the big return of Hideo Itami, the last member of the old guard of NXT from 2014, who's been plagued by injuries quite a bit.
Yes, to say the least. Poor guy.
He went out with his shoulder injury that took him over a year to recover from. Came back and was about to start up what was looking to be a really good feud against Austin Aries, and then he had the neck injury, courtesy of Riddick Moss, on an NXT house show.
And that cost him, 6 months more?
Yeah, at least. But now he's back and immediately in the title scene against Bobby Roode, and slapping the taste out of Bobby Roode's mouth before giving him a GTS was probably one of my favorite moments that I've seen in NXT in the past year. I mean, that was amazing. And you absolutely know that with it being a takeover Chicago, there's going to be at least one GTS in that match.
Oh, I plan on being there, cheering for it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to Evolve. I'm going to the Cubs game that day, but the Cubs game's at 1:20, so plenty of time to make my way over to Allstate to catch NXT.
All right.
So it should be fun. Yeah, it should be fun. A buddy of mine has free Cubs tickets, and God willing, this 40s and rainy bullshit that's going on right now in the northern part of the United States ends by late May.
Mm-hmm. Now, the other thing that is going on in the NXT main event scene is finally the development of Roderick Strong via a series of amazing vignettes.
If you haven't seen them, I thought the first one was very powerful. The second one was quite good too, don't get me wrong. Yeah. I thought the first one was very, very powerful.
Yeah, anybody that has lived any sort of a troubled life, had difficulty in their family life, struggles with addiction or any sort of other personal problems like that, Roddy's story really really speaks to that in a lot of ways, in really very powerful
And
ways.
he's never had on the face side anywhere close to this kind of characterization. He's always been, I'm Roddy Strong, I'm a good wrestler, I like to do backbreakers.
Yeah.
Was basically the extent of his character in Ring of Honor and to a lesser extent in NXT. I am excited to see where this goes.
Yeah, I mean, and heel Roddy Strong, obviously, we all know about Shitty Little Boots Roddy. You know, that's always been a thing. But, I mean, this, I think, is a good direction for him. I mean, they were starting off when he was paired with Aries in the beginning. Starting off, he was a heel, and you know that first match I will never forget. That match against Heavy Machinery, where you can find the GIF of it, where they both grab Otis Dozovich, go to suplex him, and Otis is just like, "Nope, I'm just going to suplex both of you instead." It was so magical.
Oh, it's the best.
That was the moment where I knew I was going to love Heavy Machinery.
Every wrestling fan loves big dudes. It's even the smartest of smarks love big guys throwing little guys around. It's part of our wrestling fan lizard brains. We just love it.
Yeah, the simplest of things sometimes are the best things.
Like Braun with a Christmas tree.
Exactly. Yeah, but Roddy as face Roddy, and giving him this development now. I mean, it's definitely been a long time coming. I mean, there was nothing to his character once he joined Dillinger in that feud against Sanity. And I mean, he doesn't really have a whole lot of direction right now other than next week's #1 contenders match, but he is definitely poised for big things. So, I mean, the NXT men's singles main event scene is actually looking a lot stronger than it has in a long time.
And a lot younger than it has in a long time.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
in terms of age.
You've got Bobby Roode and you've got Cassius Ohno who's lurking on the periphery of things, but Roddy Strong, Drew
McIntyre.
McIntyre is definitely going to be in the main event scene after Takeover without a doubt, regardless of who wins. And there's plenty of talent that's on the rise, that's on its way up, and
that doesn't count. Adam Cole, baby.
Yeah.
That doesn't count potentially War Machine.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't count anyone else signing from the Indies. That doesn't count the new women, Io Shirai, any of that stuff. That's just the people on hand.
Yeah.
Once those guys hit their stride in the summer and fall, Katie bar the door. All bets are off. Yeah. This could be an excellent run of NXT.
Yeah, this summer is going to be very telling for NXT because with the women's tournament happening and the number of women from the international scene who are either already signed or speculated to sign. I mean, just the quartet alone of Nixon Newell, Evie, Io Shirai, and Kairi Hojo, that's already 4 of the 15 best women in the world, without a doubt.
Easily.
And they're going to be. If Io Shirai is indeed coming, that's your final 4 of the women's classic right there. That's it. That's your final 4.
That's it.
Unless Candice LeRae is also coming. She's the only one that could be a wild card there. Other than that, that's your final 4. And it's a great, multi-talented, multifaceted group that's really going to bring that NXT women's division right back to where it was when the horsewomen were there. But with plenty of other talent who's also going to be a great supporting cast. It's a great time to be part of NXT, without a doubt.
It is. I don't know if we'll ever hit the heights we hit up to NXT Dallas, but I think we can come close.
Yeah. I mean, we've got TakeOver Chicago, which is the card is already mostly set. And we didn't even mention friggin' Aleister Black, who is goddamn superstar.
Who's great.
Yeah. I mean, that dude is something special.
Yeah, he's got it. We talk about it. He's got it.
Yeah, it's so amazing. Now here's my question to you. Looking at this NXT scene, we've got TakeOver Chicago, and after that, further over the horizon in August, TakeOver Brooklyn 3. What do you think NXT looks like coming out of Chicago and going into Brooklyn?
I think Rude wins the belt.
Okay.
I think Itami gets put on the main roster sooner rather than later. I think this is a goodbye feud for him, and they put him on the roster, or 205 Live, one or the other.
Yeah, because it's long overdue.
I think Brooklyn is either Drew or Roddy versus Rude. I
Okay.
think Drew. I think we get a Roddy Strong, Aleister Black program.
Ooh,
Face versus the tweener.
that's interesting.
And I think Chris Hero is still nowhere to be found.
Really?
I don't know. I don't know what they're doing with the guy. I mean, I don't get it. He's the theory that's going about it's being bantered about the Daily that he was signed just so he could stop having great matches on the Indies. I'm starting to believe. Maybe he'll have lost some weight by then. I don't know.
I mean, I could very easily see a feud of Cassius Ohno versus Drew McIntyre for the number one.
So could I. Just big guys beating the crap out of each other.
Yeah,
that make me very happy.
Yeah, and then either Roddy or Aleister Black for the title. Or
I think it's too soon for Aleister. But
yeah, I mean, it might be.
Wouldn't shock me. I wouldn't. It wouldn't blindside me, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Now, what do we think is happening with Sanity? Because I mean, Killian Dane has been getting
God willing, Eric Young goes away, but
yeah,
I don't know. I could see them turning tweener and Killian Dane and them all being tweeners. I talked about that a little bit with Nikki Cross in that match.
Mm-hmm.
You can use that as the way to get them all as tweeners. Like I could see a Killian Dane and Eric Young tag team trying to go after the belts as a placeholder feud. I don't think Heavy Machinery is ready yet for Brooklyn. I think they'll be ready by Survivor Series by Houston.
Yeah,
I don't think they're ready at Brooklyn, so I could see a placeholder feud. The DIY feud ends in Chicago at the ladder match.
Yeah, DIY is going to end up going to the main roster after that.
Yeah. But I could see a hodgepodge of Killian Dane and either Eric Young or Alexander Wolf versus the Office of Pain as a placeholder, kind of get us through the summer.
Now, what about the theory that some have floated, myself included, of Aleister Black taking over Sanity from Eric Young?
I'm in all day. Works for me. I'm not an Eric Young fan.
Yeah, me neither.
Works for me. So I'm good. I've said this before. Eric Young is the worst part of his own stable.
Yeah, he really is. I mean, the sad thing for me with Sanity is, it's pretty clear who this has been a vehicle to get over. And Alexander Wolf is definitely the odd man out here, and he's very underrated as a performer. Every report coming out of the Performance Center says he's in the advanced level of classes, which is the class that is for everybody who is imminently ready for promotion to the main roster. So he's definitely got everything down that he needs to get, and he
gets his characters to a T, which I love.
Yeah,
I love when guys and ladies own their character. Makes me so happy. And he owns his character.
And owns it well enough that even though he's in the background, he still puts all the effort and all the work into it. And that's how you get into the spotlight, is by doing that kind of thing. Now, regarding the women's division, that's the real question mark right now, and especially because of this Ember Moon injury. Now, do they do a title change in the triple threat, or do they have another Asuka wins again moment and then further delay the title change until Brooklyn? What do you think?
I think we get one title change on this show, and I don't think it's going to be Rude Tommy, so I think it's going to be the women's belt, and I think they're going to pull the trigger of the Ruby Riott. That
would be quite interesting, given the fact that she's been in NXT for
half an hour.
Yeah.
Well, look, we did not have a title change in Orlando, correct?
No, we did not.
No. And I think we're not going to. I don't think we're going 2 straight shows without title changes. No title changes, excuse me.
Yeah.
And I can't see Rude losing to Itami, and I definitely can't see the Office of Pain losing to DIY.
No.
So by default,
it's not time for that.
It's time for, by default, I think Asuka loses.
Yeah. Now, is Asuka the one that gets pinned, though?
No.
You think that Ruby's going to pin Nikki and get?
I think Ruby pins Nikki, and Asuka still has the cachet of I was never beaten.
Yeah.
And that's SummerSlam main event is a one-on-one. Or, excuse me, Brooklyn main event, Asuka versus Ruby Riott.
I like that. I like that a lot. And again, though, the sad thing about it is that Ember Moon is getting the shaft here, but I mean,
This so sucks.
injury you can't account for. I mean,
I am not the world's biggest Ember Moon fan, but she's had a great stretch of in-ring matches.
Yeah.
She's starting to win me over. The fact that she has a character makes me happy because before she had no character besides I wear contact lenses.
Mm-hmm.
And the character is starting to get me there. It's starting to get me there, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was contact lenses and one of the best finishers in the world. That was it.
That was it.
You know,
and I can't talk even a little bit.
Yeah. But now, like that, the promo that they gave her, I mean, there were some people who were not a fan of that like pre-taped promo that they had her.
I was one of them. I didn't like it, to be honest. But I've started to come around on it because it was better than nothing, I guess.
Yeah. I
don't like my baby faces to be all sad. I want them to be houses of fire.
Well,
especially her.
I think that there was I think that there was some despondency, but also an edge of wanting to get, you know, that retribution, get that get her win back, and, you know, get it back cleanly. I think that there was definitely an edge to that promo. It was very subtle, but it was definitely there. And I like the fact that they still presented her in the Battle Royal this past week as being the top of the heap. You know, having her,
I like that a lot too.
Having her be the one that literally got thrown from the ring, and you know,
to her death apparently.
Yeah, that was, well, not literal death, but you know, but to what looked to be a pretty bad shoulder injury. Which NXT just has a bad history of shoulder injuries. I mean, you had Sammy and Hideo, and now Ember. And it's like, God, people, hit the rowing machine. Hit the rowing machine, please.
Or, sorry, remember it was the whole Olympic lift thing for a while, and they ended that.
Yeah. Now, coming out of Brooklyn, you think that Ruby keeps the title in Brooklyn?
Yes, I do.
And at that point in time, then we also start to get introductions of people from the Women's Classic. So
Shirai, potentially Candice LeRae, etc., etc.
Yeah. Who do you think gets a big pop out for coming out of the women's tournament?
Nixon Noel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. I don't think the Japanese women do yet unless they master the language very quickly.
Well, Kairi Hojo apparently has been taking English for a good solid few years, and she actually tweeted this week that she apparently got her driver's license. So
awesome.
You know, she's definitely adjusting herself.
I think either Nixon Newell or Evie, one of the two English speakers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to use the words American, obviously, but one of the two English speakers.
Well, neither one of them are American.
But yeah, but I was going to. I was like, wait a second. Yeah, wait a second, George. There's a problem here.
We got a Brit and a Kiwi here. Neither one of them qualify.
They both speak the language. So I think one of them will get the push because of the language.
Yeah.
And because they're both great, let's be fair.
Yeah.
It's not like they're just pushing these scrubs just because they speak English. These Nixon, Newell, and Evie are awesome.
Yeah, they really are. If you're not familiar with either of their matches, definitely go watch some of their material. It's all over the place.
Chris, I think I know what next week's match of the week should be. I think you should talk about one of their two matches. Oh. You're much more the women's expert than I am, so I will cede the floor to you.
I will. I've already had one Evie match as my match of the week, and her match against Kaylee Ray from 67. So I'm gonna have to get me a Nixon Newell match, and I think I actually have a couple possibilities from Stardom that I can grab. I'm personally guessing that Evie actually gets the push rather than Nixon, just because Evie's a little bit older, and the fact that she's also has some past familiarity with Heidi Lovelace / Ruby Riott from their time as Team Slap Happy from the Indies. I think that we get not full integration of that familiarity, but there's definitely going to be some allusion to it. And I think that they could easily weave that into a storyline where it becomes the Icons going after Ruby Riott, and then Evie arrives to even the score for her and help her beat back the Icons, because they're still going to be there, and I'm very happy to see that they're still getting a highlight spot because they've earned it. And I think that's going to continue going forward because people love their gimmick.
Agreed.
People love to hate them.
Agreed. What I believe I'm going to plug you on Twitter here.
Yeah.
You were 100% correct when you talked about Aaliyah and Liv. Do you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah. So this past week at the Battle Royal, Aaliyah eliminated Rachel Ellering from the Battle Royal to massive boos, and then I don't know if Liv eliminated anybody or not, but whenever at the point that both Aaliyah and Liv were eliminated from the Battle Royal, there were cheers. There were cheers for both of them getting eliminated. Both of whom have been, prior to this, have been favorites of Full Sail and the NXT crowd as a whole. And I think that that's very telling for the two of them. And it's time for Liv Morgan and Aaliyah to get better or get off TV for a while, because they are not going to be able to keep up, and the crowd is not going to be happy if they are continuing to get premier spots without being able to put in the work rate of the women who are coming in that are obviously going to outperform them. For Aaliyah, I'd say it's more of a shame than anything, because when she was Jasmine on the independent circuit, great performer, very charismatic, seemed to know what she was doing and had the skill set to be able to turn out good matches and, get to where she needed to be, even for someone as young as her. But as soon as she showed up at the PC and NXT, it all just kind of evaporated. I don't know what exactly it is, whether it's a issue of not being able to take the pressure or what, but I mean, it's definitely, it's almost like watching two different performers in some ways. It's very disconcerting. I hope that she figures it out and gets herself back on the horse there. As far as Liv Morgan goes, I mean, it's nice to see that somebody with no prior wrestling background has come in and is able to put together a decent, and highlight on the word decent, TV match. But she doesn't have what she needs to be able to keep up with anybody in that division right now.
This new crop.
Yeah, and I was talking about this today with Tierney in the Daily. I think that the problem really started with that, with her calling her shot and getting that title match against Asuka, and then that started her, the kind of the storyline that happened between her and the Icons. When that was really what actually introduced kind of the gimmick of Billy and Peyton being a pair, and then eventually calling themselves the Iconic Duo. Liv was really not the person to put into that spot, because it was clear. I mean, for the storyline trope of a babyface calling their shot and then just getting beaten down and having to kind of come back from that, it's a great storyline trope. It's a good arc to run. And if you have somebody who is ready for that, who can run that kind of a story and do well with it, both in character work and in the ring, then it works out great. Now, Liv has some good character work elements. She's got some that are not so good, but she's got some that are good. But her ring work is not enough to justify that storyline spot.
Agreed. Agreed.
And,
she's too uneven.
Yeah, coming out of that, coming out of the feud with the Icons, it's clear that she is not on the level of most of the women who are in that ring. She needs more time.
And it's clear the crowd knows that too, which is more important.
Like, she was getting crowd support in the beginning, but now they started to turn apathetic, and now they're outright hostile. So I think that for both of their sakes, both Liv and Aaliyah should probably take a break from TV and give some of the other women a chance. I mean, you've got people like the former Daria Baronato, now relabeled as Sonya Deville. You've got the former Macy Estrella, now relabeled as Lacey Evans. You've got Mandy Rose, who has for some reason been completely absent from TV since having a match against Ember last summer or fall, and then just completely gone from TV since then. Who was actually a really good performer and could pull off and was doing a really good job with her gimmick as well. I mean, I believe that Mandy Rose is someone who could take a gimmick like a Sable type gimmick, but also have the ring work to back it up and just run with it and make it work. I think that she's got a ton of upside, and she could be a great performer right now versus somebody like Liv or Aaliyah who needs some time to figure out whatever it is that they've got going on. So that's to say nothing of all the women that we talked about already coming out of the Women's Classic who are going to be, taking up spots in NXT.
Yep, I believe the field is starting to lap them.
Yeah, so it's time for the two of them to take some time, work on the basics, and get themselves to a point where they're more ready to be in that spotlight role, because they clearly aren't. I mean, when your storyline is Ember Moon coming down to save you from the Icons because you can't hold them off yourself, even with your friend, that's too much. It's clearly that they're in over their heads.
Agreed.
Matt
agreed,
just asked.
Agreed. A co-sign with everything you said. That's why I was sitting there in silence.
Yeah,
you said it correctly.
Matt just asked in the thread. Matt DSM just asked in the thread: is Sonya Deville / Derry Baronato any good? From what I've seen of her, she's definitely got the chops to pull some stuff off. Her gimmick has been since the beginning and kind of an MMA fighter gimmick, and she definitely has the skill to pull that off. If you saw her on Tough Enough, she's got the in-ring chops to she's got the basics down pat, and can definitely do some of the more advanced things.
She's unique on the women's NXT side right now because she's a shoot fighter.
Yeah, I just don't know really what kind of character they give her, because I mean the one instance where she was kind of given a chance to show some character work was the brief bit with the Icons after what was it, San Antonio.
Yeah. Briefly. No. Yes.
Yeah. And they had her join the Icons for that 6-woman tag against Ember, Liv, and Aaliyah that the Faces won at her expense when the Icons ditched her. And then she went after them and lost in a 2-on-1 essentially. It was a singles match, but as it is always with the Icons, it turned into a 2-on-1. So she lost that, and then she hasn't really been seen since then. But I don't know really what they do with her character wise.
Neither do I. I think she can get away with badass shoe fighter as her gimmick for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But there needs to be something there for the crowd to sink its teeth into.
Yeah. Somebody who I think she could actually have a good feud with coming out the gate would be somebody like a Kairi Hojo or a Nixon Newell, who can play white bread babyface very well, and just have Sonya come in as the fighter who's been there and doesn't know about their past, doesn't know what they can do, and wants them to prove themselves against them.
Absolutely, the gatekeeper almost.
Yeah,
I can absolutely see that.
So
the Andrade Almas of the women's division, losing to the debuting talents.
Yeah. And Andrade, speaking of, we haven't even mentioned him. I am enjoying the hell out of his
I love his gimmick.
Party boy gimmick here.
I love it.
Win
or lose, he still boozes.
Little Easter egg bit. When we had a little bit of him getting into the SUV with all of those women after losing his match that one night on NXT. One of the women, in fact, the woman who was on his arm, is none other than Miss Britt Baker, who's an independent wrestler from upstate New York, who is also in real life the significant other of Mr. Adam Cole, baby. I have a little bit of a thing running in my head here.
Do tell. I like good Chris fantasy book stuff.
Of Andrade losing a match to somebody, or even winning a match. I don't even care what result it is, but after the match, going and grabbing a woman out of the crowd who just so happens to be Britt Baker to kind of take them out for a night on the town, and then all of a sudden, Adam Cole, baby! The music, his New Japan music starts playing because that music is freaking awesome, and he just comes down and just decks Andrade right in the face, and that's Adam Cole's first feud.
Fine by me.
That's
Although
my
I do hope
fantasy.
Andrade's on the main roster by then, but I'm okay with it.
That would obviously have to be post Brooklyn because I believe Adam Cole has to have 90 days before outside of Ring of Honor before he can officially appear on TV with anybody else. But I could very easily see him getting the ringside seat treatment at Brooklyn with
absolutely.
the camera shot, and then a couple of weeks later on one of the taped episodes of NXT, we have that bit, and then all of a sudden Adam Cole out of nowhere just comes down and just decks Andrade right in the face, and that's
sure.
that's
I'd rather debut Cole as a heel, but that's me. He's better at a heel.
He is better as a heel, but I mean,
I get it. I'm cool with it.
His history tells us that debuting talent from the indies on NXT almost always debuts as a face. The only notable exception to that at this point has been Bobby Roode and Kevin Owens. And even Kevin Owens' first match, I mean, he turned heel the same night as he debuted, but his first match was clearly as a face against the former CJ Parker, now known as Juice Robinson,
who is awesome. We love
also awesome. We love some Juice.
Juice Naito was a great match, ladies and gentlemen. Check it out.
Yeah, and that actually is. I'm going to use that as our springboard into the results of Wrestling Dontaku, because we got to get to that.
Let's blitz through Payback. Let's go home.
Yeah.
Respective homes.
Yes, I mean we already are in front of our computers, but that's besides the point.
Yeah.
So Wrestling Dontaku happened this past week, May 3rd, at the Fukuoka Kokushi Center in Fukuoka, Japan. I probably completely mispronounced that second word, but whatever. Moving right along. The highlights of the night, and the reason why I mentioned Juice as the kind of transition is that he and Kushida had an exceptional tag team match against Hiromu Takahashi and Tetsuya Naito. Now, both of these guys have both Juice and Kushida have suffered recent losses against their opponents. Juice lost his main event IWGP Intercontinental title shot against Tetsuya Naito at Wrestling Toyo Nakuni, and Kushida, as we spoke about, lost to Hiromu Takahashi at Sakura Genesis for the junior heavyweight title. So Juice and Kushida right out the gate had that babyface fire straight away. And this match was just high speed, high intensity from start to finish. Great tag team match. I highly recommend it. Definitely a fun match. Old man Jushin Thunder Liger, who's had enough of your shit, is fantastic as well. He was in
love it.
A 6-man tag with Manabu Nakanishi and Yuji Nagata against Tiger Mask IV, Tiger Mask W, and Togi Makabe. Now, the two Tigers and Makabe won the match. And after the match, Liger comes back into the ring. He shakes both Tigers' hands, and then he flips off Togi Makabe in the most...
As my avatar would suggest, I am a fan of Jushin Liger throwing the finger at people.
Yeah, he's just fuck you right to Togi Makabe. It's fantastic. And side note here for Jushin Thunder Liger, he has announced that we talked about him being in the Best of Super Juniors this year. He actually has announced this is his last Best of Super Juniors. He is not going to be in the tournament anymore. Now, I'm
unfortunately.
I'm the belief is that he's giving up his spot because he doesn't want to take a spot from a future young talent, which I respect a great deal.
That's why.
You also have to wonder, I mean, the guy is in his 50s now. You have to wonder if, maybe his retirement is coming soon, but
maybe something crazy happens and he goes back to NXT.
Who knows? Either way, I believe that whenever Jushin Thunder Liger does retire, it's going to be at Wrestle Kingdom, without a doubt.
Oh, no doubt.
Whether it's Wrestle Kingdom 12 coming up in January or Wrestle Kingdom 13 or even further on down the line beyond those two. But, wherever Jushin Thunder Liger retires, it will be at Wrestle Kingdom. It'll probably be in a headline match, if not the main event of whatever Wrestle Kingdom it is. Probably not the main event, but it'll probably be one of the headlining matches.
It'll be one of the featured matches. I could easily see him getting a gold watch junior heavyweight belt run.
Yeah.
And then either winning and retiring and setting up a tournament or putting over someone in his final match.
Yeah.
I can easily see that, and he deserves it, and he deserves more than that because he is sensational.
Yeah.
He was having 5-star matches 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like his original like Super J Cup stuff, and from '94 against the Great Sasaki and Pegasus Kid. I mean, that stuff is just unbelievable. He's a great flying wrestler. He's a great technical wrestler.
Yeah, we're talking about the guy who invented the shooting star press here.
Yes, and perfected.
Absolute legend of the business.
I mean, I'm looking at his resume real quick. Like it's unimpeachable.
Yeah,
unimpeachable. He is a Hall of Famer in every sense of the word. And
yeah.
I sincerely hope that one day, even though it doesn't matter, he becomes a WWE Hall of Famer.
Yeah, and the thing about it that I love is that Jushin Thunder Liger has never had any sort of like controversy to his career. There's never been any like asterisks or black marks, anything that he's done.
He's a pro's pro.
Yeah, great man. And yeah,
By the way,
we love everything that he does.
He's great. I love him. I've been a fan of his since I was a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
Dominion 611 in Osaka.
Yeah.
Or as someone in the Daily, whose name I forget right now, called it Wrestle Kingdom 11.5. Yeah. We'll get 2 matches announced.
We'll get to that in a second. We'll get to that in a second. We got a couple more results to go through.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. I jumped the gun.
That's all right. That's all right. The IWGP Tag Team Championships were defended in a triple threat of War Machine, the champions, versus Guerrillas of Destiny and Tenkozy.
That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that.
It was a fantastic match. War Machine won the match via fallout on Hiroyoshi Tenzan. And after the match, the Guerrillas attacked and knocked both members of War Machine out with the title belts. So it's pretty clear that heading into Dominion, we're going to be getting another feud for the tag titles between War Machine and Guerrillas of Destiny. And I'm 100% okay with that. I'm a big Guerrillas fan. They have a T-shirt now on Pro Wrestling Tees finally, and I'm going to buy it as soon as I can.
Good for you.
I love everything about these guys, and I predict that the matches they're going to have are going to be great. The never openweight 6-man titles changed hands at Wrestling Dontaku with Taguchi Japan, Hiroshi Tanahashi, Ricochet, and Taguchi losing the titles back to Los Ingobernables de Japón, Bushi, Evil, and Sonata. This is the 3rd reign now for Bushi, Evil, and Sonata with the never openweight 6-man tag belts. The most they are the team that has held it the most times of any team of 3. This is actually they won the belts. Yeah, believe it or not, they won the belts at Wrestle Kingdom. This is their 3rd reign.
Yes.
Less than 6 months.
Yes.
Which could give you an idea about how high New Japan is on these guys, and rightfully so. We've said it a number of times in the past couple of weeks. LIJ is phenomenal, top to bottom. And
they are exceptional right now.
Yeah, and these guys have not had a bad match with anybody.
So over.
Yeah. And we're going forward. I don't know who they're going to feud with next, but whoever they end up feuding with, LIJ is in a fantastic position, and good for them. Kenny Omega and Tomohiro Ishii had a barn burner of a match.
Yes, they did.
Phenomenal.
By the way, welcome back, Kenny Omega, after his excursion in the wilderness for the past 4 or 5 months since Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah.
I discussed a couple weeks ago how he overplayed his hand.
Yeah.
If he was going to go to WWE, he should have left after Wrestle Kingdom. But it's good to have you back, Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming back, Kenny.
Absolutely incredible match. Even better than their first round match at the New Japan Cup. And
yes.
High
praise. That was awesome.
Yeah, I mean that was easily a 4.5 star match, and this was without question a 5-star match. And for Tomohiro Ishii, who's 41 years old, to be pulling off the stuff that he did in this match is phenomenal. You don't see 41-year-old guys who are built like fire hydrants pulling off reverse ranas with ease too.
No,
this guy is something special. Another guy who is
pretty damn great.
One of the all-time greats for his weight class, absolutely, and really just in general. Ishii is just a all-star performer. And then finally in the main event, not quite as good as we thought it would be, but still a pretty good match. Kazuchika Okada successfully defended the IWGP Heavyweight Championship against Bad Luck Fale in a 21-minute match that felt like it ran a little bit too long, but overall not terrible. Fale is not he's not the man he once was. I mean, he's 340 pounds. He can't really go for very long, and this was probably
he's not the young man he used to be.
Yeah, but he still hits his power moves with authority. He still has all of the excellent character work that he does, and he made Okada work for it. That's for sure. He definitely pushed Okada to the limit there. The number of times that Okada had to get out from the Bad Luck Fall, because Fale never hit it, but the number of times Okada had to escape from it, you could tell this was definitely a moment of oh God, what the hell do I do? And that it was good story building. I have to say the biggest thing about it was the fact that it was the good story build, because in the live events leading up to Wrestling Dontaku, Fale had Bullet Club in Chaos were having the multi-man tag matches that New Japan is so known for, and Okada and Fale were the guys closing out every single one of those matches, and every single one of them Fale pinned Okada. And it was funny because Fale pinned Okada with a tombstone in all of those matches too. Fale incorporating the tombstone into his arsenal. That was a good little bit
callback.
That was a good callback to their previous matches, and he hit it in this match too, and Okada got out of it. Okada kicked out of it, but the storytelling was good. The work not quite as good, but it was an acceptable match. The big story of the match, well, not even of the match, but of the post match, is that Kazuchika Okada called out Kenny Omega and challenged him.
Here we go.
Yeah, challenged
here
him
we
for
go.
a rematch. And that is going to be our main event of Dominion 611. One of the two announced matches. Which is
Okada. Oh, do you think Okada loses finally? I don't see it.
I don't know.
I love it. I don't see it.
I don't know. It's tough to say.
I don't know. You're right though. They have a story set up, and Okada kicked out of the one-winged angel that Omega never hit at the Wrestle Kingdom match.
Yeah. And that was the story of the Omega Ishii match, is that Omega tried to hit the one-winged angel on Ishii about 4 times, and it was only when he finally got it that he was able to pin Ishii. So I could easily see
clearly established as a killer move.
Yeah. And I could easily see that this is finally the moment where he hits it and gets the belt. But again, we talked about the backstage politics. Omega overplaying his hand. Is the question is going to be, is he going to be forgiven for that in some ways?
We'll see.
Yeah, and even more so than that is, are they really that concerned about having a not necessarily recognizable champion, but at the very least an English-speaking champion going into the G1 kickoff shows in Los Angeles?
I don't know, because they're already, by all accounts, selling out the tickets out like hotcakes.
Yeah.
So they don't need a draw,
Yeah.
Per se.
The fact that New Japan is going to be there in and of itself is the draw. As some
exactly
would say.
Especially for relatively small venues like that.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's tough to tell right now whether Omega will get there. I mean, my heart tells me that they're finally going to pull the trigger, but my brain is telling me this is Gedo and he's booking for Okada. So I don't know.
Well, you know what? I don't know. This has been a hellacious run Okada's been on match-wise. So.
Yeah. I mean, Okada, we've talked about it before.
I just watched the Marufuji match before the show from King of Pro Wrestling 2016, and that was an incredible match. And he's had 5 great matches since then.
Yeah. Okada gets criticism, and some of it is fair for his work, but you can't deny that, when he needs to show up, he shows up.
Agreed.
Yeah, some may not like his work, and there definitely are some things that he could improve upon. But he manages to put together amazing storytelling
with
matches
different wrestlers.
with different wrestlers every time.
And our other match announced for Dominion is callback to the beginning of the show: Naito versus Tanahashi for the IWGP Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah, part 2.
What do you see happening here?
This
Real
is
quick. Now we'll get into this more detail as the program unfolds. But real quick, what do you see happening here?
I'm actually predicting a Tanahashi win here
So am I.
for 2 reasons. One is that I think that Naito this is gonna be the way that they transition Naito into a feud for the heavyweight championship, regardless of who's holding it, because I think that he takes it off of somebody, either at the G1 Climax or at King of Pro Wrestling.
I think he wins the G1 Climax, Naito.
Yeah,
and he wins the title shot, and he wrestles Okada for the belt in some capacity.
I see Naito going into the Dome as the champion.
As the champ. Okay, I can see that.
Yeah. So
I think Naito will be in the main event of the Tokyo Dome. I think that's pretty clear.
Yeah, there is no way that doesn't happen with how good of a reception LIJ has been getting, but the question is whether he goes in as the title holder or as the title challenger.
I think 3 months ago I said that Okada would win the G1 and Naito would have the championship. I'm going to stick with that prediction.
Yeah,
I'll stick with that prediction.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
Yeah, I'll stick with that prediction. That's not a huge limb to go on.
Mm-hmm. But I also think that this is giving Tanahashi the IC title. Will be a way for them to officially cement Taguchi Japan as a faction, because they were talking about it on commentary the whole time during the Never Openweight 6-man tag match during Wrestling Dontaku. Don Callis and Kevin Kelly were talking about it on commentary, and Callis's analysis for the whole thing was, as soon as Tanahashi decides to go and do his own thing, and the whole thing's going to fall apart. He's criticizing the hell out of Taguchi and his eccentricities, thinking that it's a soccer team, treating it like it's a soccer team. But I think that this is going to be New Japan's way of cementing old man Tanahashi in his midlife crisis as being content with being a part of that kind of thing. And being okay with even though he is the forever ace, still being a part of something that's bigger than himself, because he cares about the product. This is going to be his way of saying, I care about the product, and I care about the fans enough to continue to be a part of this group that is there solely for the fans' entertainment, because it's clear anything that Ryusuke Taguchi is a part of is solely for the entertainment of the fans, because he is at heart a comedic face. But Tanahashi being a part of that, not for legitimacy, but just for giving it some sort of firm foundation.
Also, I think it matches up with the ace gimmick, the broken ace. He's good enough to win the IC title. He's not good enough to win the heavyweight title. Yeah,
and this is also, I think, the way that they officially bring guys like Kushida and Juice into the stable, because it's implied that they're a part of it, but it's never been officially made a thing. So I think that putting the belts on Tanahashi and officially making it a thing will be the plan following Dominion.
I think both guys are made with this outcome. Tanahashi gets cemented, obviously, in his new role as the midlife crisis guy, and Naito gets ready for bigger and better things as we head to the G1.
Yeah, and going on from that, I think Naito has a slew of guys that can challenge for the belt coming out of it too. Obviously Fale is forever going to be a presence. Tamatanga could easily make a case for it. Any one of the LIJ guys besides Naito, particularly Evil, because Tanahashi and Evil have had a little bit of a mini rivalry going for quite a while.
What about some of the guys from Chaos, like Hiroki Goto or something?
Yeah,
you can do something with that.
Goto and Ishii, both very viable challengers. Hell, I mean, I'm not a fan of this, but you could even have Cody Rhodes challenge for it. What
if you go super crazy and get like Minoru Suzuki?
I mean,
Are you on board for a Minoru Suzuki Hiroshi Tanahashi feud? I am.
yeah, that would be ridiculous. I mean, if Suzuki is not holding the never open weight belt at that point in time, or here's a thought: how do you feel about Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Zack Sabre Jr.?
Oh, you tease. You tease. You tease. Yeah.
Literally just
if for nothing else, the banter about how thin Zack Sabre Jr. is.
Yeah, really.
From the king of banter.
It would be amazing. It would be amazing.
My dream at the end of the day is for Hiroshi Tanahashi, WWE superstar. If for nothing else, the in-ring banter.
Yeah.
Like, can you picture him going up to Roman Reigns and saying, "A true man doesn't wear a vest, Roman"? Yeah. What are you hiding, Roman? Why are you wearing a vest?
Yeah,
where's your muscles, Roman?
Bray Wyatt, in ring trying to give him some shit, and Tanahashi just grabs the mic and says, "Why have you never shaved?"
Yes,
like that.
Kevin Owens. Yes.
Yeah.
Tanahashi's one-liners are the best. They're just withering, ethering.
Mm-hmm. It would be fantastic.
It would be my dream. It's my dream. It'll never. I should say never. Never say never. It will most likely not happen, but it's one of my dreams.
99% to never happen because Tanahashi has been a company man through and through for New Japan, but it would be amazing.
Said that about Nakamura.
Yeah, that's true.
So you never say never, but you're right. I would be very, very surprised if Tanahashi was anywhere other than New Japan anytime in the near future.
Yeah, the only thing I see is maybe after after Vince McMahon dies, and Triple H takes over the company, and Triple H and Stephanie take over the company. Maybe we see the possibility of New Japan stars getting brief tours in WWE, and that would be a good way to get Hiroshi Tanahashi to have a brief run in WWE.
Yeah, excursions like CMLL.
Yeah, like was what CMLL does, what Ring of Honor and it's all those companies, etc. So it's possible.
It's possible, not likely. Possible.
Yeah,
I'm pulling for it.
Well, we'll hopefully make it happen. So that was wrestling.
Good point, Adam Rice, by the way. When he and I were bantering about Jushin Liger, he says it's not much of a stretch considering they have all of his WCW matches ready to go.
Yeah.
Good point. I forgot about that. Nice job, Adam. You're 100% right. He has that whole good resume of WCW matches from the early to mid 90s that they could use as part of a video package for Jushin Liger, WWE Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I can see it.
How about that? Nice job, Adam. All right, Payback, real quick.
Yeah, we're gonna run through this. Payback
because the beginning part of this show was pretty great. I enjoyed the first 3 matches immensely. I'm not counting the pre-show because who gives a shit.
Yeah,
I enjoyed the first 3 matches. The women's match was good, but the wrong person won. But we knew that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I mean, I understand what our good friend and editor of Cage Fight Sees, Gino Morosco. I understand what he was saying when he said he enjoyed the House of Horrors match, but that definitely is not for everybody.
Not for me.
Yeah.
You know what made I get what they were trying. They were trying to do this final deletion bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what made the final deletion great and Deleted Decay or Total Nonstop Deletion is that they were in on the joke.
Yep.
And they didn't play it seriously. WWE played this shit seriously and it fucking blew.
Yeah. And
if they had gone camp, like if I said this like after the fridge thing, if Randy Orton had Undertaker Druids carrying him to the ring in the fridge and he popped out of the fridge, or if he rode that bullshit tractor,
oh my god,
to the ring, like play it campy, it would have been great. But instead they played this seriously, and we got Randy Orton acting face, and we got Bray Wyatt having a damn coronary or something.
Yeah,
sounded like he just did an hour on the Stairmaster.
Oh my god, I don't understand it. I really don't. Like, WWE should understand by now that they fucking ruined Bray Wyatt, and nobody's gonna take him seriously ever again. And to call this a House of Horrors, there was nothing remotely horror themed about this house. Yeah, okay, you had dolls hanging from the ceiling. Whoopity fucking do. Oh my, you had what looked like literal shit on the refrigerator. Whoopity fucking do. Why? Why even?
Like, It was.
Oh no, the house is bathed in red light as Bray leaves. You know, I'm sitting there in that moment. It's like the house is bathed in blue light. I'm like, and Bray's looking back, and I was like, okay, the house is gonna go up in flames. The house is gonna go up in flames, and then it's like it's bathed in red light, and that's
on
it.
Raw.
And that's it. And it's like, are you fucking kidding me? That's it? Yeah. 14 Fitzpatrick, one of his favorite matches on the show. Yes, I understand. Not everybody is going to like.
We love Fizz. This is why we're doing the show. Yeah. Fizz is our spiritual godfather. We love you. We love you, Fizz. Love you to death. But you couldn't be more wrong here, my friend.
Yeah, we're well.
Whatever floats your boat. I shouldn't say wrong because it's subjective. Wrong is too strong. It's subjective.
If you enjoyed it, good for you. I'm glad you found something to enjoy.
It wasn't for me at all.
Not a fan of it at all.
Like I saw someone said somewhere on either Twitter or on Cage Side, thank God I'm watching this alone. Because if I was watching this with people, they would have that much less respect for me than I watch this shit. How would you explain that match to someone if they walked into the room as you were watching it?
I don't know. Oh my God, it's at least with things like the final deletion and total nonstop deletion, you could say, okay, yeah, we've got this guy who is clearly out of his goddamn mind, who believes he's from outer space and has contact with the 7 deities, and is clearly off his rocker, but at least is doing something amusing with it, and is having fun with it. And you just look at it as a long form extended joke.
That everyone's in on
comedic storytelling. Great. That's easy to convey. In this, how do you even explain this match? I don't even know.
You know what? Yes, Bray Wyatt did dirty, but a lot of it's on him. He thinks he's just some wrestling savant who's so far ahead of the curve. Get the fuck out of here, Bray. Stop this.
And
stop this.
And then we should also point out the House of Horrors match took place in 2 parts. In between those 2 parts, we had the deadest of dead matches.
I said this at the time.
Samoa Joe.
I said this at the time. Rollins Samoa Joe was technically fine. I just didn't care at all. There was no soul, no heart, no spirit, none of that stuff to give me any investment in the match.
Yeah, I mean the whole idea that the House of Horrors match was terrible, but at least it was like watching a train crash terrible. You can't take your eyes off it.
Just moves.
Yeah.
The problem with Seth Rollins right now, he's the ultimate video game wrestler. Mm-hmm. He just does his spots. He takes the match home. There's no storytelling. There's no psychology. There's no nothing.
Yeah.
That's where we are right now with Seth Rollins, and it's kind of sad.
It really is, because he was amazing.
His babyface turn up something fierce.
Yeah. He was amazing at doing storytelling in the Shield. We've talked about how the Shield guys were always better in the Shield, and now they're this is just the latest example of nope, not feeling it anymore from you, Seth. Sorry, and then we had the conclusion of the House of Horrors match with Ginderference. They had the Ginderference.
Like that.
The only thing about the House of Horrors match that was even, at least to me, even remotely better than any remotely good about this match was Jinder and the Singh brothers coming in and screwing Randy Orton out of the finish of the match.
Interference, I like it.
Yeah, the storyline there being that Jinder is the #1 contender for the WWE Championship and will be challenging for it at Backlash. And Jinder, for all the crap that we've given him, is actually at least he's trying.
He's trying.
He's doing good work with this.
Even though it's a bad program entirely, he's doing good work with it.
He's doing his best to make chicken salad out of chicken shit, and I can't give him shit for that. I got to give him credit. And then the main event, I'm okay with it, even as a Roman.
I'm okay with it. What? If you're gonna tell me this story of Roman Reigns, vulnerable Roman Reigns, this is the time to do it.
Yeah. I was not really as big of a fan with the post-match stuff, but
No.
I mean, this is what they needed to do. They needed to show because I mean, Roman very clearly needs time off TV. I mean,
Yep.
and I gotta say I can't give we talked about it last week. I can't give Roman Reigns enough credit. He's on the WWE European tour right now, wrestling house shows. Even though his brother died 2 weeks ago.
It's got to be so hard.
Yeah, he is already in Europe performing, and I gotta say now the thing about this match that was amazing for me is that Roman Reigns was selling that shoulder injury like a fucking god.
Great!
He wrestled that match with one arm.
Take notes, Kazuchika Okada. That's how you sell on offense.
And he is continuing to sell it on all of the house show matches.
Good.
Watch the videos. He is continuing to wrestle with just his right arm. The house show matches.
Happy. That makes me happy. That's awesome. Take notes, everybody.
Yeah. You
hopefully we get like the Roman Reigns as DDP where he has the thing taped up for a year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. Cesaro's already kind of taken that with having the tape for however long it's been. But I mean, Roman Reigns, as much as we want him to be the badass killer of men, he is amazing at selling.
He's too good at selling.
He's too good at selling for his own good.
It's holding him back.
But Matt DSM asked the question: which was less watchable, House of Horrors or Rollins Joe? Yeah, like I said, Rollins Joe.
That's hard. I mean, that's like
no, not for me. Rollins Joe less watchable.
Rollins Joe had nothing. It was just moved.
There was nothing to latch.
Nobody cared about. Now I wonder how much of that was that nobody cared about because apparently in the building, the House of Horrors was horridly received.
Yeah. Well, think about this though, and this I absolutely understand.
Crowd was trending boring the entire time.
This I absolutely understand. You have the Raw Women's title match, which is Bayley versus Alexa Bliss, and the whole time they're playing up this whole Bayley hometown element, and Bayley loses
clean
in front of her hometown crowd, clean to Alexa Bliss, and then you go into half an hour of pre-taped garbage and a soulless Seth Rollins Samoa Joe match. Would you be invested in those things at all?
Not at all. And you know what? Props to Roman and Beef Strowman for bringing the crowd back.
Yeah.
Let's say that.
Absolutely.
Because the crowd had an hour of shit.
Yeah.
And Roman and Braun said, you know what? We're going to bring these guys back. And lo and behold, they did.
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan still of the "you deserve it" and "thank you, Strowman" chants while Roman's getting this shit beat out of him. But, that is what it is. That ship.
That's starting to turn into the "you suck" for Kurt Angle. Like that's going to be a thing now.
I'm just gonna let that go. And all I will say is that Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns definitely bring out the best in each other.
Oh, I'd watch these two wrestle every Monday.
Yeah, they're gonna be forever opponents, and
I approve this message.
Yeah,
they're great together.
People can get all up in arms as much as they want about Roman Reigns being a babyface, but this is right. This is one instance where that is
Braun,
right.
I'm good with. I am good with them beating the piss out of each other.
Yeah. Now, what are your thoughts about WWE deciding to actually name Braun Strowman's injury as a torn rotator cuff? Because we talked a little bit about this in the daily, but I want to put the word out there for everybody else who hasn't aware.
I think they picked an injury that sounds really bad, so that way when he comes back in 2 weeks, he's even more of a monster among men.
Yeah, the throw the darts at the dartboard and see what happens. Yeah,
I'm just surprised they didn't give him a blown knee ligament or something.
Yeah. Well, yeah. For those who aren't aware, torn rotator cuff usually takes about 2 months to recover from,
if not longer. If you're a baseball pitcher, that's your season.
Yeah. So, that it's going to be interesting when he's back in 2 weeks, like we said. But yeah,
Fully healed.
Yeah, it's, anybody with any knowledge of medical science is going to be looking at their screens like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" But whatever.
But
whatever.
It's WWE. I mean, it's just what they do.
Yeah, it's interesting enough. And that was Payback. The next pay-per-views we have Backlash for SmackDown in about 2 weeks.
2 weeks, 3 weeks, 21st, I think.
Yep, and then Great Balls of Fire in June.
Goodness gracious!
Yeah.
I hate this company so much. I don't know what I hate more. This company or that I watch this product?
We say this every single week.
I think I only watch this product so we can talk about it, Chris. I think
Basically.
that's the only reason I watch Monday Night Raw is to talk about it with my dad and talk about it with you.
Yeah. I mean, at least with SmackDown, there is some redeemable stuff going on.
Yeah, AJ. Based AJ. All hail.
Indeed. And, that tag team scene is, it's interesting now with the Fashion Files. Can we just talk about the brilliance of the Fashion Files?
Oh,
for
so
a
good.
second?
How about before we go any further, the classy Freddie Blassie picture was the greatest thing I've seen on television in months. Whoever thought of that gets all the stars in the universe, and the universe is infinite. That was an awesome touch.
And a second award of all the stars in the universe, whoever came up with that's jaywalking. Also, Jimmy walking.
That was
the best one-liner I've heard all year.
These need a network show.
Oh my god!
These need a network show.
It would be amazing. It would be amazing. Just a little episodic thing. Like it's a shame, honestly, that Backlash is in 2 weeks and they only just aired this now. Because I would have been happy if this had started after Mania and just been like a little episodic thing with tidbits on the network here and there, and then segments within SmackDown for the 6 weeks leading up to Backlash, from Mania to Backlash. I would have been glued to my TV for SmackDown every single week. It would have been incredible.
It was such a great segment. I hope we get more of them.
Yeah. For guys who have been essentially glorified jobbers since the brand split, Tyler Breeze and Fandango, A+ guys. A+.
Yeah.
And got to also give a nice little tip of the hat to whoever thought of the idea of putting the Vince McMahon mugshot in that too.
Yeah.
From
and,
that,
the whole thing with the cords, like it's a police investigation, and
the report.
How about the big boss man, their spiritual godfather,
typing up the report about the Ascension.
Yep.
That was great. All that said, though, I do think that the Usos will retain at Backlash, but I am seriously looking forward to coked up Usos return shot promo.
Yes.
That's going to be happening this
week. The coked up Usos is my favorite random gimmick that came out of nowhere.
Yeah. They're
out of nowhere
with this.
Them cut the promo in the crowd.
Yeah.
Like it's American Alpha. It was like, wait,
it's
what?
It's not paranoia.
What is this? This is more of this.
It's hallucinogenic drugs. I mean, the Usos.
It's lots of cocaine. Copious amounts of cocaine.
Yeah.
Or something. I don't know.
I mean,
I love the drugs.
It's wonderful. Yeah.
I love SmackDown.
SmackDown is doing a great job.
How did the same company produce Raw and SmackDown? I don't know. I mean,
I don't know.
People hate watch Raw and love watch SmackDown.
Yeah. Even the crowds.
The crowd. Did you notice Chris Jericho was like, "Whoa, this is a real crowd."
Yeah, Andrew Swift points this out in every time the SmackDown's on the air. But yeah, the crowds of SmackDown are always infinitely more positive.
They enjoy themselves.
Yeah, it's a miracle. It's a Christmas miracle.
You see what happens when you don't go to a show that you hate?
Yeah. Well, that's it.
Anything else?
That's it for tonight. We are done with our first Friday night show. We'll be back.
First of all, everybody who's been posting in this thread, thank you all. You all rock. You made this a great show to do. It's so much better with our ladies and gentlemen of Cage Side Seats bantering with us. You should banter with us too.
Yeah.
This Friday night slot, I think, is going to be something great because I got CMLL on, I got you on, I got the people, the men and women in this thread going at it. I think Friday nights are here to stay.
Definitely. Friday night,
yes, Fighting Irish. I think the Usos retain at Backlash.
Yes. Yeah, Matt DSM. I don't know how the same company that produces the Fashion Files and Renee's visit to Heath Slater's house, but also manages to churn out making Darren Young great again, Emelina and Lana Lena. That's
no answer. I have no answer for you.
Let me say that's also the first time I've used her name since the weight shaming incident on Twitter. Update. Lana is still a weight shaming piece of shit, and that will not change.
Make yourself look bad. You just, at this point, you're just embarrassing yourself.
Yeah.
At this point.
And
you're not making anybody feel. You're not making anybody feel bad. You're embarrassing yourself.
And shame also to NXT for continuing to allow her to go over at house shows on the Florida circuit. Tonight, she beat Sarah Bridges, who better known from the indie circuit as Crazy Mary Dobson, one of the best of the indie circuit for years. And tonight, Lana beat her. God,
I hate this company. Love this company. I hate this company.
I can't wait.
This company is the. I don't know. This company's like a drug. You love it and hate it at the same time.
I cannot wait for when she shows up on SmackDown and Becky Lynch just suplexes her on her ass and she's like, I don't know what to do. Yeah, it's gonna be a glorious moment of revenge for the rest of us. So that's gonna do it for us tonight, guys.
I gotta run to the grocery store.
Thank you again for tuning in. And
thanks everybody. Fun episode. Thank you for the engagement. Thank you for the feedback. Thank you for the comments. We will see you Friday night, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, for next week's edition of Two Guys, One Sport. I'm going to just sign off this time.
6 Pacific, 3 Hawaiian. For those who
6 Pacific, 3 Hawaiian. 10 if you live in Nova Scotia.
Mm-hmm.
To anyone who lives in the Atlantic time zone. Mm-hmm. For Chris, I'm George. Thanks for listening. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And remember, don't work yourself into a shoot.
Bye, everybody.